And joining our program right now is Mr. Stuart Ward, Chairman of Palestine Solidarity Campaign of Thailand. Good evening, Mr. Stuart.
Good evening to you.
Thank you so much for joining our program tonight. Now, Prime Minister Yingluck stated that she supports the Palestinian statehood. And what does Thailand have to gain from this support? And is this support merely an attempt to appease the southern, predominantly Muslim provinces?
I doubt it very much, relating to what you just said at the end of your question there. I don't think that the Prime Minister needs to be so desperate about that. So I think we should give her at least the benefit of the doubt that when she is making a statement like that and when Thailand is supporting this resolution, it is doing it for the right reasons, that Thailand wants to be on the side of justice. And this is a just move, and I think that's how the Thai government have realized it, and that's why they're supporting it.
Well, so within the ASEAN region, only Singapore has stated that it will vote against Palestine. What is their reasoning for this?
Well, Singapore has extensive collaboration with Israel, especially when it comes to military matters. They work together a lot on developing weapons and arms, and that obviously counts more to the Singaporeans than what is right on the ground for people who are oppressed, i.e. the Palestinians.
Now, the U.S. stated that the Palestinian UN bid is counterproductive in their pursuit of statehood. Is there any truth in this statement?
No, of course not at all. America is unfortunately run by the pro-Israel lobby. There is a major organization in America called AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. And American politics are very much run by lobbies. Big corporations have their own lobby groups. And this particular one, this AIPAC, is counted as being the second biggest lobby group of all, and they are big in America. That means it's bigger than most of the American corporations have trying to lobby politicians in America. And the Israel lobby has total control of American foreign policy and even affects domestic issues. Just last month, a fifth of the House of Representatives went to Israel, all expenses paid by this Israel lobby. I think that speaks for itself.
Right. So if Palestine successfully won this UN bid, would this actually help them in their pursuit of statehood given Israel's action in the past?
Well, there are different kinds of membership. This is a little bit of a problem. There's full membership, which Palestine is applying for. But there is a lesser kind of membership, which is not bad either. We're hoping certainly that to at least get that, and that we can get with enough members of the General Assembly voting for it. But to get full membership, the Security Council has to vote for it. And that is where America, the U.S., have said already that they're going to use their veto to stop that. So almost certainly the Palestinians are not going to achieve this time around full membership because of the U.S. veto. We should actually, I think it would be important for everyone to know that Palestinian statehood was effectively voted on and approved of back in 1947. You know, we have to go back in time. This is not a new issue. This is something that has arisen during the last 60 years after the Second World War, when there was a partition made of what was Palestine. There was no Israel a bit more than 60 years ago. It was Palestine. It was just Palestine, that area down there. Down there, I say, over there in the Middle East. And there was a partition plan in the United Nations that was voted on the 29th of November 1947, whereby a Palestinian state was created. But Israel did not allow that. And because Israel didn't allow that, there hasn't been one.
Now that you mentioned that Palestine was promised statehood in 1947 by the UN, and in 1993 by the US and Israel in the Oslo Peace Accords, right? Now, how is it that these promises have not come to pass?
Because when it comes down to it, Israel does not want peace. You're referring to something called the Oslo Accords. and Israel does not want peace. For Israel, negotiations about peace mean only one thing. It's an easier way to con everybody into thinking that they're serious about peace, but in practice, it's an easier way for them to conduct land grabs, to steal more land, and to ethnically cleanse Palestine even more than they have already. It's a delaying tactic by Israel every time that the Palestinians have in good faith entered negotiations with them. And that is why they are doing what they are doing now at the United Nations. They have got tired, and it's long overdue, actually. Something like this should have been done a long time ago. It is long overdue that the Palestinians have said, no, we are not going to accept this anymore. Now we have to do something constructive, and they have been driven to do this, to go straight to the United Nations instead, because we cannot trust America. They are biased towards Israel, as is unfortunately Tony Blair, the quartet, as it's called, the representative, the quartet being the EU, Russia, America, and the UN, and they too are toothless. They are absolutely toothless in the face of Israel's power. So this is why the Palestinians have been driven now to take this step in seeking membership of the United Nations in this way. And that is what is at stake here, actually. It's membership of the United Nations, which de facto recognizes them as a state. They're not actually asking to be recognized as a state, because I say that's actually been done already, more than 60 years ago. But by admitting them as a member, you are at the same time accepting that there is a Palestinian state, because only a state can be a member of the UN.
Right, Mr. Ward. Now, if they were unable to, achieve their goal in the UN bid, what should be their next step pursuing this statehood?
That's a really good question, and you know it's a very difficult one as well. And I think that they have to keep trying. They have to keep canvassing for more and more support, and to try again. But I think that the mere fact that they have done this, and should it fail completely, which I actually don't think it will, but should it has shown the world very effectively and demonstrated very effectively the issue here and what is at stake and why the Palestinians are doing this. In recent years, we've noticed that world opinion has changed radically. There was a very pro-Israel opinion before, when people were not given the facts, were not informed as to the situation in the Middle East, the so-called Israeli-Palestinian conflict, or Israeli-Palestinian issue, as I like to call it, because to have a conflict, you have to have two equal parts, and you certainly don't when it comes to Israel-Palestine. Israel is by far much more powerful in every possible way than Palestine is right now. So I think the next step will be to make use of the goodwill and the world opinion being in favor of the Palestinians to move the Palestinian cause forward.
Stuart, if the Palestinians get this statehood, has achieved the statehood, what would it mean to the Palestinian people?
Well, that's also a very good question, and it's going to be very symbolic in the beginning, because nothing is going to change the day after on the ground. That is subject to completely different measures and different steps altogether. But the symbolic value of this is such a major, important thing to the Palestinians. It will lead to a change on the ground, but not immediately. It will have to inevitably lead to a complete change in their daily lives and in the situation for the Palestinians. But again, that will take a bit of time. But they will have won a major victory in every possible way, symbolically and otherwise, in order for them to not only have a state in name and on paper, but actually in practice as well.
Right.
Well, Stuart Ward, thank you so much for taking your time speaking with us in our program tonight.